Hi guys, welcome to another Extra Talk. Today with me, reoccurring member Ayman, and we have a new panel, special guest. We talk with him all the time on Twitter. Muhammad, welcome.
Thank you, Papimento. It's a pleasure being here today and just to take part of this talk.
Thank you for being here. I'm happy that you made time for us to share your opinions on the club we love. Can you, before we start talking about Ajax and stuff, can you, as a tradition now, the new members always introduce themselves, where they're from, and most importantly, how they became an Ajax fan. So go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Papimento. Basically, I'm from Jordan, in the Middle East, and how it started. I grew up in a family where my dad and my older brothers, they follow European football, and I can still remember, those Champions League nights, like in mid 90s. So back then, that Ajax had their dream team in 1995, where they could beat AC Milan in the final.
Yeah,
and that was my first match or official match that I recognized for Ajax. So ever since, I fell in love with that club because they were phenomenal, and the performance they could deliver back then was like everybody was admired that performance back then. So starting from that point, I started to follow Ajax, and the next seasons, Ajax had really a successful campaign in the Champions League as well. Unfortunately losing to Juve in the final, and the year after they reached the semifinals, and due to the Bosman rule, at that time everything collapsed. So I fell in love with the club because I like the way they play, the total football they can deliver, and everybody, there was a consensus that Ajax is a entertaining team when it comes to playing football. So I started to follow Ajax, and for the following years, it was like gap years until early in 2002, 2003, when they could make a comeback. But unfortunately, that was again not the happy ending. When I still remember that night against AC Milan, when Jon Dahl Tomasson scored that killer at the last minute. So I continued to follow Ajax. I know that we had really long gap years after this season, where we had those youngsters, led by Ibrahimovic, Schneider, Van der Vaart, and the rest of the squad. I think back in the following years, maybe we had very bad luck in terms of the coaches we hired and the mentality we played with, which put Ajax aside from the let's say, if we can say, the elite level of clubs. So luckily we had Van der Sar and Overmars again, and where they reformed the football again within the Ajax. They are back to the philosophy we used to know, and luckily we had good coaches again who could put us on the map, the top European.
A couple of questions, Muhammad. Your favorite player from the 95 team?
I think I can say Edgar Davids. Yeah.
Okay. Ayman, do you have a different one?
Patrick Kluivert.
Kluivert. Okay, fine. And then I also wanted to say, look, there was a switch after the Bosman. Ajax had also financial issues. It's not only it's not only when Van der Sar and Overmars came. Yes, they had a lot of success, but it was a build-up from long time ago because a lot of changes needed to be done at Ajax. We were financially not great, and then we also had a max on how much we would spend on players. And when we started playing with Bos on the Europa League final, and then we got a great youth with De Ligt and Frankie and the Champions League, and we were the only one in the Champions League, that gap financially became bigger, which made us able to compete more in the Champions League, I think. But we had
Yeah,
a
I agree
great
with
team
you.
with Zlatan and Mido, Kivu, Trabelsi, that team, and Van der Vaart. Yeah, really impressed with that. Now let's get back to the question of the day, guys. I mean, we're still in the preseason. Alvarez, Anthony are still gone with the Olympics and the Gold Cup. So they didn't have really a preseason with Ajax. Tomorrow we have the preseason game against Leeds, and then very soon after that we have the Johan Cruyff Shield against PSV. And the question is, what would be your ideal formation for the PSV game? Ayman, you start.
Well, forgive me for sounding disrespectful, but PSV Eindhoven, they've been very disappointing this transfer season. Usually for a long while, they would get the players they want. If you remember late 90s, early noughties, they would get Van Bommel, Hoefland, Bauma, and other players. And now, I mean, I expected Joey Bierman. I actually tweeted because I expected there was a cash injection of 50 million from a tycoon. And they've only spent 5 million. They've bought Mbene and Nvogo, and they've got signed one decent centre back, Romelio, and obviously Drommel. But on the field, I haven't seen them being that active. I expected them to go all out for Noah Lang and to try and end Ajax's domination, but they haven't. So this is just another preseason friendly, in my opinion. It's not too difficult. I'm not being arrogant. This is substantiated by even other pundits.
Did you watch the Galatasaray game? PSV
Yeah,
game?
I saw one of the games, but Galatasaray are a very poor team this season. The Turkish teams are not the same as they were several years ago, both at national and at club level. And they did well. They run rings around them, but that's just Galatasaray. I mean, they think they're 1-0 or 2-0 up against Midfield. Okay, great. But against top quality or rivals, no, it's a whole different ball game.
So basically, what you're saying is Ajax will become champion easily this season because there is no competition.
Well, there is there's a gap between Ajax and the other teams. You saw AZ, they've lost players. Feyenoord are struggling. They've been linked with Bierman. They've signed this Iranian player. He's got a very long name. Pardon me, I can't pronounce it. From Brighton Hove. He's very average. He's been very disappointing at Brighton. So we can expect Ajax running away with it by, say, November, December time. 10 points, 9 points clear. So
an ideal formation is not even necessary. We will win it easily.
Well, I mean, surely there should be a formation just to. I mean, at the back, I'm happy. Everyone's happy by all accounts. Sandro Martinez and Yoring Timber, but obviously at times changes should be made to give other players in there, such as Per Schurz with Martinez or Blint with Timber, but not Blint with Schurz because we've seen what happened last season with that.
Yeah.
And the wing backs, Mazraoui injured. This is a good opportunity for Rensch to grow. Taliafico, obviously a left back with Bass as his backup. The midfield, again, it's another dilemma. Who do we play? Do we play Blint and Alvarez with Klaassen?
Yeah, Alvarez is not going to be there because he's still playing with Mexico. So what would you play against PSV? That's what would be your midfield? And we don't have Anthony. So who would be on the wing position?
Well, I play Kudus instead of Gravenberg.
Kudus is injured. He won't play, I think.
He won't play at all. Okay,
nope.
Well, okay. We'll have to settle for a 1-0 or 2-1 win rather than a 3-0 or 4-0 win because Gravenberg and Blint, that's not working. I think you'll hear from other people it's not working. I think we have to change it. Klaassen, number 10. I prefer him as number 8. He's very good at number 10, but as a number 8, he'd be better. Him and maybe Gravenberg switch around. And obviously, at some point, give Taylor some minutes up front. Anthony's away, so Burgos automatically. And
Burgos, yeah. You wouldn't try Neres, for instance?
Well, Neres, I'd get him on as a substitute. Tadic, because this is I'm being realistic. Ten Hag doesn't like change too much. So put Tadic.
Yeah, but it's also about giving your opinion. Like, would you play Haller on the 9 or would you
I mean,
rather play?
Come in at some point, but not immediately, not to start. I think at some point, just get his confidence back at, say, 65 minutes, 70 minutes. I think that'll be good. And again, it's against a PSV side who aren't the same as they once were a long time ago. I don't know what it is about other clubs, particularly PSV, who got a cash injection and is spending very little on it. Thank you.
Mohammed, do you agree with Ayman on this subject? Do you think the gap is so huge that it doesn't really matter? And what would be your ideal formation for the game against PSV?
I think looking to the last season, everybody could notice that gap between Ajax and PSV, and also Feyenoord, if you can say, and as it. So, but this year could be different. I think, despite the fact that PSV lost like two players, Donald Mellon and I think Rosario, if I'm not mistaken. But you can look to their
they lost
game.
Malen, and I think Dumfries is also not playing yet, so I don't know what's going on. But yeah, important.
Yeah, and also Rosario also signed for Nice. So exactly. I think things. When you look to their game against Galatasaray, personally, I like the way they played, and they had really great performance. They were very agile, and they had those fast wingers who could make those fast runs into the deep of the to the areas of Galatasaray. So it's just a game. We can't make a final judgment whether PSV will be consistent this year or not. But we should be alarmed. I think we should be alarmed for this because the team spirit is back to what we used to know PSV like. And I think we should look really seriously to PSV this year. It's not going to be easy, let's say, or a free run as we have seen last year. I expect more tough competition from PSV this year. Maybe if they succeed to qualify to the Champions League, that's going to be a huge boost for them. So things may change. Things usually can be played on small details. It's about the team spirit. So I expect different PSV this year. For the formation for Johan Cruyff Shield, I think maybe Ten Hag is still, not settled on the formation, as I think he had some statement before, today, about that he's still trying some combinations in the midfield, also some, let's say, experiments within the back line. So I think maybe Ten Hag will still in the preseason mood for this game. Maybe he will pick where he left the last game against Leipzig. So I think basically the biggest problem is within the midfield, because the back line could be Mazraoui, Timber, Martinez, and Nico. But for the midfield, I think the majority didn't like the blend Gravenberg combination we have seen in Leipzig. But that's not the end of the story,
But it was also one preseason game. They might surprise us.
Yeah, so we cannot judge or make an ultimate judgment here. So I think, the problem today we have with the selection is there are, if we can call it, untouchable players within the Ajax, where Ten Hag is forced to play to position them, even sometimes out of position. So
and who would you consider the untouchables?
Tadic, we have Tadic and Blend, I think.
Maybe Haller also.
Klaassen. Haller, yes, Haller. I think Haller, because he was brought as a big, signing, and I think he's stuck with those players because sometimes they are underperforming, but he cannot make their decisions to change them quickly. So I think he will keep trying. I think what Ten Hag will be doing is keep trying to make it work with a blend. Let's say Tadic and Haller in the starting XI, but I think for this game, I see Klaassen, Gravenberg, and Blend in the midfield again. This is the most, let's say, probable, formation he would go for.
And who would you have on the wings, Mohammed?
On the wings, I think could be Neres, Tadic, and Haller as a striker. And I think we can see Perhaps as a substitute maybe for Neres. again, for the same reason, because Tadic will remain like, it's a big argument here for Tadic. We all love to see Tadic as number 9.
Yeah.
But Ten Hag is forced to push him as on the left, because he has Haller today, and we had that's a big signing for Ajax, and he has to utilize him. So I think there is some dilemmas with Ten Hag for the selection. He has to sort it out. But I think for the PSV game, because PSV will be focusing tonight on the third qualifying round in the Champions League, and they have the return game next week. So it might be not highest priority for them to maybe to be fully focused for this game. Maybe this is just a kind of thing I guess would happen. So I think we are favorites to win, but that's not going to be like with a big margin of goals. It could be a very tight win.
Okay, guys. Look, I agree with you. I think the same. I think the midfield will be the same, but let's see what Leeds brings us as what Ten Hag can do. Maybe he will introduce some youngsters like a Taylor, maybe, or he might. And another scenario might be putting Blind back in the back line with Timber and maybe Martinez next to Graafberg. Would you guys consider that? Ayman?
Yeah, definitely. I've always been Martinez. He's a fighter. He doesn't give up. He's agile. He's versatile. I've seen him. We all seen him as a holding player in that position a couple of seasons back. And I'd be more than happy to have him, although I'm not sure if Gravenberg should be next to him. I prefer seeing Klaassen next to him rather than Gravenberg. I think Gravenberg does really well in that free role, what people haven't seen when he shoots or dribbles here and there, ball on his feet. Not as.
So you would play him as a 10, Ayman?
Gravenberg? Yeah, I'll try him as a 10. I mean, Klaassen is a good 10, but I like him to see him in midfield with someone like Martinez. I think they complement each other really well. And Martinez won't push up that forward. He would cover the mistakes from the back, and behind him he'd have Blint, he'd have Timber, he'd have Tagliafico. So it would be interesting to see if this was to pan out.
Well, we saw Klaassen playing number 6 before. I didn't really like it. I think when he started playing 10, he really showed his stripes, like what he's good at, and that's making the first goal and being in the box, right? So I would keep him as a 10. But Mohamed, maybe you agree with Ayman. What's your opinion on the switch? Martinez maybe to the midfield, and Klaassen to the 8 position, and maybe Gravenberg 10. I don't know. You tell me.
I think I would agree to a certain extent. Yes, I think personally I see Martinez is a better option than Blend. If it comes to say like if we need to switch between Blend and Martinez, yes, I would go for Martinez. But the problem is Ten Hag, he doesn't see that at all, and
I didn't mean switch him. I just meant Blend one position back, so he would play the back line and Martinez on the midfield.
Yeah, of course, that would be more proper, because Martinez is kind of agile and has that fast pace, where Blend is more of kind of player who plays those long balls and those long assists to the. But I think Martinez can make the link up with the Gravenberg and Klaassen much better than Blind, because Blind is somehow will be slowing down the pace, I believe, in the midfield, which is one of the biggest problems we have today. Because if you remember Frenkie de Jong, how he was like building up from the back, and he was like very agile, and he was trying to make those link ups from the back line all the way to the front line. So we are missing that kind of player. So I'm not sure that this can be compensated by Blend. But so I feel like Ten Hag should be there enough to try Martinez in that position for now, because we are still waiting for Alvarez. We are still waiting for Kudus to be back from injury. That's another issue. We might talk about Kudus or the injuries of Kudus. That's quite concerning now.
Yeah.
But for now, it's going to be a good idea to have Martinez, playing that position.
So Martinez and then Gravenberg and Klaassen on the midfield.
Yeah. Of course, that would be the ideal formation for me. But I think what would happen is that we would see, I think, Blind again, along with Gravenberg and Klaassen.
And I want, just for the fun of it, prediction. What will it be against PSV? Ayman, really short. And then we continue to the next question.
2-1 to Ajax.
2-1 Ajax? Mohammed?
I think maybe I would expect extra time. It would be 1-1. Then that would be after extra time for Ajax. It could be either penalties or yeah.
You think it will be close?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Maybe because we are still in the preseason, and we are not yet settled with that pace and performance that we had, that flawless performance. So I think we might face some difficulties. So that is my prediction, I believe.
Okay. Well, coming to the next question, guys. Look, we talked about what formation would you like against PSV, but that's without having the full team available. Not everybody is still with the team or in form. But in the Champions League, playing against the strong teams, what would be your ideal starting formation, knowing that nothing will change? So we will not have anyone transferring out or transferring in. Ayman.
Well, my ideal formation is the usual at the back. I prefer having Daley Blind at the back. That experience, he has good through balls. He can do them from the back. Doesn't need to be in midfield. Alongside him, Yuri Timber, and either Mazraoui or Divine Wrench. Divine, I love saying his name. And of course, Tagliafico at left back, since Yuri Bast is inexperienced. He mirrors Sonny Salui in some respects. I remember seeing Sonny Salui at some point. Obviously, he was a right back and Bast is left back. And the midfield, I would have someone like Alvarez playing with Martinez. I think we should try that. Alvarez, Martinez, and either Klaassen or Kudus as the number 10. And up front, I know Haller has to be played, but with some miracle, Tadic will play up front, and Anthony on the right, Burgos, who can play on the left and the right. So either him or Neres, preferably Neres. But this is my ideal formation. As you can see, it's we've got the depth. We've got some sort of depth. That's the main thing. And this is my formation.
Wow. So you would bench Haller and you would play Martinez and Alvarez on the midfield.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I didn't expect that one. Mohammed?
I left out Gravenberg.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Mohammed, what's your ideal formation?
Okay. So I think, for our Champions League run, I think we need to count on the experienced players. This is key to making those consistent performances, because, what happened after our incredible run in 18-19, that we lacked that depth, and we lacked those players who could push us forward in some critical moments of those games, especially like Atalanta, Valencia. It was like small details that we missed, made us being eliminated. So I think going back to the best formation from my point of view, I think Mazraoui should be at the back line. Mazraoui. We can have Blind and Timber, and on the left side, Nico. So on the midfield, I think Kudus, Gravenberg, and it could be Martinez, I think, as an option to start with, because Klaassen doesn't bring that, fast pace to the midfield. So I would try Martinez as that, defensive midfielder, and just to be that kind of linking player between the back line and the midfield.
Mm-hmm.
So for the front line, I would take also the same opinion, and I could bench Haller and have Tadic as number 9. And on the wings, we can start with Anthony and Berghuis, and we're having Neres as a standby substitute, because Neres has been really good, and like in 2 or 3 seasons, he played for Ajax, but I think he declined to a small extent. He declined from his top form that we used to see him in 18-19 season. So I think as a starters, we should see Anthony, and perhaps is very agile and very motivated player now. He's reaching he should reach his top level of his career, now, because that could be his opportunity to show his real skills and to improve as a player. So I think he's very motivated now. So I think Ten Hag should give him the chance to show what he can deliver on the pitch. So that would be my ideal, formation. And we will have the depth on the bench, because we will have Haller, we will have Neres, we will have Klaassen. That would be like a good bench that we can really be prepared for those unexpected, events in the Champions League.
I'm just surprised that you guys both benched Haller, which is funny. A 22 million transfer benched. But no, I do understand the Tadic. I would also prefer Tadic as a 9. The only thing I have a problem with is Anthony and Berghuis both don't have the runs off the ball. So it's both coming into the ball. And who's going to make the runs over Tadic, Maybe only Klaassen. So, back then we had also similar. We had Ziyech, Tadic, and we had Neres going on the runs. I don't know who's going to take that responsibility with this team. But we will see. And I think for me personally, I don't think Blind would play in my formation. And that's very crazy, but I think the back line would be still Timber Martinez, and the midfield would be Alvarez, Gravenberg. And if Kudus is fit, I would play Kudus 10. If not, it's Klaassen. So, yeah, it's weird how we all kind of differ in this one. Anything else, guys? You guys want to share?
Who would you have up front? Who would you have up front in your formation?
If it's I think I would play Anthony, Tadic, Neres. That's my ideal front line. But if Haller plays, I still think we need a Neres type instead of Anthony or Berghuis type. While Anthony is great, I don't see him making the off the ball runs a lot for the forward passing. So we will see. I like Anthony. I think he's very skilled, so he has a lot of potential. I hope he's just not gonna get benched by us having now Berghuis,
Yeah, I agree. I think we have some when it comes to Haller, despite all the stats, all the great stats he had with his first season or first half season with Ajax, I think there is something to criticize Haller for. I think he's very heavy on the ball. He's not very agile with his movements off the ball. So I think we need more agile striker than Haller. I think someone like Huntelaar in his golden era, or someone like Ibrahimovic, or someone like those who can move off the ball, So that is something that I don't see in Haller, because he's kind of player. He doesn't deliver these values to as a number 9. So that's why I'm not very happy with Haller signing, to be honest, despite the stats he had in his first half season.
Yeah, I just want to be clear. Look, I have nothing against Haller. I think he can be very useful for us. I just think the same as you, with Tadic as a 9, the team flows better, number 1. And second, he is, for such a big player. No, let me say this. You have stats, Eredivisie stats, and you have stats, Champions League stats. And I still want to see if he's going to make those stats in the Champions League, because I think that's a bigger league, better defenders, and will he still have the impact he's having now, what he's doing in the Eredivisie? Because for me, Eredivisie is a guaranteed with Ajax that we're going to win that because we have so much quality. But is he going to be able to show us his exceptional skill in the Champions League? That's the most important thing. That's why I'm not really writing him off yet. Ayman,
He lacks experience. He lacks Champions League experience. So there you go.
But do you think quality-wise he can manage in Champions League? Like the way you
No, I don't think he's not the type of striker. He's an out-and-out striker, but he doesn't make those runs. He doesn't link up. He's there, the target man, and he's the tap-in, as we've seen before. He's not really the type of player, and he cannot score those spectacular goals, as the gentleman rightly pointed out. Huntelaar in his prime, and he cannot obviously do what Zlatan did back in his days. I think we're going to eventually, Ten Hag will see this, and in the Champions League, in some degree, perhaps the league, depending on our opponents, he'll have to change it. I just wondering, when the signing of Berghuis, he's 29 years old, Tadic is 32, nearly 33. Is he molding Berghuis as the heir to Tadic, as the experienced up front man, perhaps?
I think the price was just right, Ayman, because 4 or 5 million, where are you going to buy such a quality player for that price? And I mean, you have still 3 years in him, and he has kind of the Ziyech profile. And we had a Ziyech profile, and we knew that works. I just think Berghuis is a little bit less skilled as Ziyech, so he's more one-dimensional in his play than Ziyech would be. But any thoughts on that, Mohammed, or something you want to add?
Yeah, I agree with you. Just to conclude about this discussion, I think we still need one more signing, just to make sure, because Danilo is expected to leave. There are some speculations over his future with Ajax.
Yeah.
So I think we lack the depth for the striker position. So that would be a very alarming situation if we don't have.
Would you go for Bergwijn?
No, at all.
I mean, he has the speed.
Because Bergwijn he's a kind of player who plays like a winger, not like a number 9.
Yeah, but
so
we also said that Tadic can play back up to Haller if we want to. Like he could play the 9.
But that won't be the case, because I don't think Ten Hag will switch between Haller and Tadic. That won't happen, because Tadic has a kind of player profile which he will be a basic starter anyway. So I think we need to look into this. Overmars has to do something, I think, if Danilo leaves, because even with Danilo presence, I think he's not that kind of reliable backup for Haller. So I believe there are so many uncertainties. We need to see what would happen at the start of the season, and hopefully the draw of the Champions League would be really not that tough, because it's highly likely to be tough, draw, because of the seeding that put Ajax in pot 3.
Yeah,
so that could be another reason to worry about.
I mean, look, I think us worrying a little bit says that the team is not fully in balance yet. So I think maybe Overmars needs to rethink his transfers. But he also said that in August it might be very busy and something might happen. So let's see. Do you guys, before we wrap it up, want to say the last word, last thing, Ayman?
I want Wolfsburg in the Champions League. I want to face Van Bommel's side. That's going to be, he's not going to last long there. And it doesn't matter if we're in 3rd seed, because we were a 2nd seed the past 2 seasons when everyone was hoping, and then things went our way. And so much for that. We just didn't qualify. So, as long as we get somewhat decent top seeds. I'm not asking for heaven on earth or Sporting Lisbon or Lille. You know, I'm more of other teams at the top, except for maybe Man City. I mean, they're doing really well, but I'd like to play them later on. But yes, an Italian side, and Inter Milan, I believe they're in the top seed.
Let me finish with that. With this, Ayman. What would be good for you in the Champions League for Ajax? What should they minimally reach?
They have to go all the way.
All the way?
Yeah.
Do you think all the way? I'm sorry, I'm shocked. I mean, I would be already happy if we moved through the group stage, but okay, Mohammed?
I think pragmatically, we should be happy if we reach the knockout stages this year. So that would be a really good milestone if we achieve it, you know.
You
don't agree, Ayman?
No, I disagree. I think this Ajax, if he gets the right formula, the right formation, I think this team can click. You have Kudus, you have Tadic, you have the old heads, you have the youngsters, you got the players. If you want that, what you said, runs off the ball that Neres makes, and Anthony with the crosses, and Tadic, and then midfield Kudus, Martinez, Alvarez, or whoever. And then obviously at the back, Yurin Timber, Blint, Tagliafico, and Mazraoui, or Wrench, and either Gorter or Stecklenburg in goal. Obviously, there'll be injuries and suspensions, so I'm just giving a little few players, throwing them out there. And with this team, I think they can go a long way.
I'm just happy you're being so optimistic. I didn't expect it. I didn't think, looking at what you said before, they would.
I wouldn't say it's optimistic. Whether they're going to make it is a different story.
Yeah,
but
true.
They have to do it to have a good season, to go all the way.